The Arctic region, frozen and far to the north, may seem distant and inhospitable to most of us, but to Russia, this region has become an important focus. What is the significance of the Arctic to Russia, and what does it mean for the United States, SOF, NATO, and the rest of the world? To answer these questions, we will consider Russia's stance against NATO, its defense objectives, and its efforts to posture itself for future resource exploitation as polar ice melts due to climate change. First, we will consider Russia's stance against NATO. During the Cold War, NATO and the USSR were in conflict for decades in various proxy wars globally. The ultimate result was the dissolution of the USSR, with Russia losing a significant portion of land, wealth, power, and influence. Since then, NATO has played a role in keeping a check on Russia's ambitions in the region. Although this provides peace of mind to the West, it has allowed Russia to perceive itself as a great nation being stifled by outside forces and therefore in constant need of countermoves against NATO's aggression. They seldom see themselves as aggressors. Understandably then, Russia views its robust military posture in the Arctic as a response to NATO's presence there. Next, Russia has 4 defense objectives. 1. Protect nuclear capability at sea. 2. Defend the country. 3. Safeguard regional economic endeavors, particularly oil and gas megaprojects. And 4. Protect the Northern Sea Route, or NSR, a future route for international trade. We will take a more in-depth look at Russia's oil and gas projects and the Northern Sea Route. As ice caps continue to melt due to global warming, Russia sees opportunities in controlling new trade routes, particularly an emerging Northern Sea Route. It wants to be an early player in the region to reap future economic gains, along with posturing against NATO there. Protecting the Northern Sea Route, then, means Russia must establish a strong presence in the Arctic. Russia maintains a presence both in the western and eastern regions of the Arctic, thereby protecting both ends of passage. It has been observed that Russia is continuously upgrading airfields, implementing radar stations, and conducting search and rescue operations there. Also, Russia has been observed expanding and strengthening its presence by placing new systems further into the region to enhance operational awareness. Russia sees northern polar shipping routes as important trading channels they would like to control. As ice caps continue to melt, more waterways will be formed, and Russia intends to control them. The polar shipping routes are a group of 4 specific routes, including the Northeastern Sea Route, which connects the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans along Siberia's northern shore, the Northwest Passage, which connects the Atlantic and Pacific via Canada's northern seas, the Transpolar Sea Route, connecting the Bering Strait and Atlantic Ocean to Murmansk in the west of Russia, and the Arctic Bridge, connecting the Russian ports to Canadian ports. The Northwestern Sea Route is contested in that Russia considers it a domestic waterway, while most nations consider it an international transit waterway. Russia has claimed bureaucratic control of this passage, banning foreign warship travel without consent of the Russian government. Finally, let's consider oil and gas in the Arctic and Russia's perspective. Modeling of future sea ice conditions suggests transport through the Northeastern Sea Route and Northwest Passage routes will include extraction of oil and gas resources, not to mention expanded fishing and tourism. All of these activities Russia sees as lucrative business. Russia already maintains a presence in the Arctic in some places, like the Svalbard archipelago, which is not strictly Russian territory. It finances coal laborers there in order to establish economic ties in this region. As coal reserves diminish in these towns, Russia rebrands them as tourist destinations. Barentsburg, for instance, a Russian mining community on Svalbard, is now one of the most distinctive destinations there, receiving cruise ships at its ports and thereby increasing Russia's access and placement in the region. Russia sees both threat and promise coming from the Arctic region and is therefore taking steps to ensure its national defense and economic interests there. Even though the Arctic may seem desolate, it is bordered by many countries, all of which are in NATO. Activities by these interests in the Arctic may prove to be another stage in great power competition, calling for the need for SOF. We can therefore have no doubt that for the coming decades, a keen eye will be kept on Russia's activities in the Arctic. We would like to thank these people for their work on this video. Please like and subscribe to this channel to see more JSOU Snapshots in the future.